Well, let's get our faces up here real quick. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Morning, Skyler. Good morning, everyone.
And good morning to Corinne, who has a comment. She's ready. She is ready.
What kind of good trouble can we make today? Indeed, Corinne, we have a full show. We have 4 hours of show we're going to fit into whatever time we take.
Uh, Jack found an article that I'm dreading. I've made an effort not to look at it. I have my anger capacity.
And credit where credit is due. This article, we're going to be talking about cattle, folks, today, once again, because it's really important to talk about in Point Reyes Seashore, where Skyler and I were at together, unusual for us, on December 5th and 6th, a Friday and Saturday, last 2 Friday and Saturdays ago. And this article is credit to Jocelyn Knight, the great Jocelyn Knight photographer and activist herself. This is an SF Gate article titled Women Owned Ranch Shows How Sustainable Cattle Ranching is the Future of Farming. And the
Quiet Piggy. Can I just say that to her really quick?
you can say quiet piggy, but that pales in comparison to what we're saying or should not be saying these days. But the important thing to note here is, for those people who aren't watching but perhaps listening, this is SF Gate, so it's a legitimate news organization here in the Bay Area. But there's a couple little words underneath SF Gate. It says sponsor content.
Oh.
Sponsor content. And underneath that, there's some sort of a cool check mark. And if you read into that tiny little thing here, which I can enlarge that. I mean, this just tells you everything you need to know. There we go. Look at that. It's funded by beef farmers and ranches. So what might this article be showing that looks like an article by Gina Butta, September 23rd. And should I get right into this? There's a wonderful picture of a woman rancher on her horse tending, looks like 4 cows.
Real quick.
Yeah, real quick, because this is folks.
So let me no. You don't have to do this real quick. Let me tell people that we do plan on showing more from our Point Reyes field trip. I've put some sneak peeks in the members section for people who want to go look at it themselves. But we plan to tie in some of the BS from this beef funded propaganda. Great job pointing that out, by the way, Jack. And I would say how astute, except that you can do that just about every time. If anyone's willing, it's so commonplace. But again, thank you for pointing it out and reminding people that just because it was printed doesn't mean it's legit. And you can usually find out who paid them to lie. So we do have a back end of this show that's going to be a little bit different than just looking at this article. But the two, I think, are going to go well together. I haven't looked at this yet. I told Jack I don't want to hear a word about it because of my anger threshold. Jack, do we need to take away from this that, the importance of this being a woman-owned ranch? Like, is that where everything went wrong in the past, that they weren't female-owned?
So John Senbanmatsu, who I'm hoping to get him on the show here, an author, professor back east in Massachusetts, but his new book, The Omnivore's Deception, has a whole chapter on this topic, and actually Hope Bohannick's book, The Humane Hoax, excerpted it and titled it Murder, She Wrote, legitimizing the meat economy with what he calls, in quotes, femivorism.
Oh my God.
So if a woman goes back to the land and does farming and, takes on the tough but rewarding work of killing animals for food, then somehow it's more noble and more feminine. And of course, what it is, in my humble opinion, is women becoming way more masculine. Not that that's a bad thing. You do what you want, but trying to put a glow, an aura of love and connection to land and to animals. If you're a woman killing animals unnecessarily, that's the sick part.
It's so, I got to tell you this, because I feel like conservatives would be calling this woke, the feminizing of everything. And, everybody's mad at Disney, and to quite an extent, rightfully so, with just replacing everything with lesbians and females and every ethnicity that's ever existed. And I mean, like, yes, we can include people, but it's just like I already know who the next character is going to be before they come on the screen at this point because of who's been left out so far. But here's what's funny. Like, now I sound like a conservative because even I'm like, okay, this is too much.
Yeah.
But here we have a conservative propaganda article that is embracing wokeism, and now it's going to be okay.
Well,
Now
it
it's
gets
gonna
it
be
gets
okay.
it gets complicated because, yeah, as you say, you sound conservative. Bill Maher gets into trouble, and I'm not a huge fan of Bill Maher so much anymore. But he would say enough with the woke stuff, and to your point, yeah, how you want to be inclusive, but then if every character is homosexual, then it's like, well, that doesn't really represent the population, and how much should we do? And we're in the nettle, in the brush, trying to figure out what to do.
And the other takeaway, good points. The other takeaway is that somehow the conservative movement has convinced everyone that the woke movement is only on the liberal side. Everybody uses it when it works in their favor. Like this article, for example.
Yeah, well, it's when I discussed the Proud Boy, one of my touchstones here is that, well, you're trying to put this curriculum into the school, Jack, your liberal curriculum, and indoctrinate our children. To which I say, well, to some extent, that's accurate, and you are doing the same thing on the conservative side, which is you're trying to say, we should put the Bible back in his classroom. That's your indoctrination of my children who are not devoutly religious like you want them to be.
And that's exactly what separation of church and state means, right?
Well, yeah, but these days everything is being questioned. Everything is being questioned. So either that's wonderful news or absolutely freaking terrifying. Yeah.
All right.
Back to it. It's now, folks, just want to know that Skyler is such a trooper here. He's subjecting himself to the emotional torment here for your benefit, so you can learn about, well, what John Sanman-Matsu, the author, calls femivorism. So, I mean, here's just a look at the article. Here's the length of it. And we have these wonderful pictures, and she's with her man who's behind her, supporting her, as good men do. And of course, 2 cows on a rolling green hill pasture, which Skyler would, taught me as a monoculture golf course.
What's the actual location?
Well, this is Cow Track Ranch, and I don't remember where this is. It's California.
I'll look it up while you guide people through.
Yeah, so it just, I mean, there's so much here, folks. I'm just going to touch on it, and you read the article for yourself. Of course, you'd have to contact me to find out where this thing is buried. Or you could look it up by this. SF Gate, Women-Owned Ranch, shows how sustainable cattle ranching is.
Oh my God, it's in Nicasio. We can go inspect this.
Well, I guess it would be fun to go sneak on there because they're not going to. Oh, you're right. Thank you. Cow Track Ranch, the working cattle ranch she owns and operates in Nicasio. I've got so much material here. I forget which article I'm in. So here, the young visitors helped Melissa Daniels feed the steers, fill the trough with water, and collect fresh eggs, all while learning how these daily ranch activities support wildlife habitat and soil health. That's this. I mean, like,
how often can I stop you?
As often as you want, Skyler. We're here to educate the public. Go for it.
Just on the most basic level, can people ask this question of themselves? How steers that don't belong there, chickens that don't belong there, the collecting of eggs that don't belong there, how does this have anything to do with the wildlife that do belong there? Like, how did the wildlife ever require things that never belonged to there? I mean, are you pretending that wildlife didn't exist until ranches came along?
And another example of the point you're making, the good point, this in the very next sentence. Later, Melissa led the kids and their parents on a hike through the lush grassland valley where they watched Melissa's cows graze as her 2 Great Pyrenees dogs kept an eye out for coyotes.
Oh my God.
No, just give folks a thought. I mean, a moment to think on that. It's like, oh, isn't that wonderful? She's got dogs and they keep an eye for coyotes without shooting them. But they missed the larger point, which we're going to dive into, which is again and again and again, we're pushing off the coyotes. Coyotes stay off our land because we're grazing cows. And we bring in a lovely foreign dog from the Great Pyrenees to keep the coyotes off the wild land. The wild animals.
Right. Literally the sentence before they talked about promoting wildlife,
Yeah,
followed by fucking wildlife are a pain in the ass.
exactly. Within the same paragraph, one
Yes.
sentence contradicts the one after it.
And this reminds me, with my ecology videos, human beings think that they get to decide when a native species falls under the umbrella of a pest because it doesn't work into what the human's plan was. Therefore, even if it's a native species, if we don't want it here, now it's a pest. So we can stop calling it a native species and just refer to it as a pest, like a ground squirrel, like a hawk, like a coyote, anything that you don't happen to like, or usually anything that gets in the way of you and your money.
Yeah, exactly. Pest control. There's a phrase that we sort of grow up with, not thinking about what it really means. So next sentence, quote, agritourism. Think about
Christ.
that. Agritourism, not ecotourism anymore. Agritourism. Again, folks, this is sponsored content. This is an infomercial from the cattle industry, the beef industry. Agritourism is about bringing people to the land and reconnecting them with where their food comes from, Melissa explains. Quote, a lot of these kids who come to the ranch have never seen cattle or chickens in person.
This is blowing my mind. This is you you have to be a blind person to live in California and have never seen cattle or chicken, or you have to be incarcerated. Because if you've been on any road anywhere, you've seen cattle and chicken.
Yeah.
Now, what you should be showing children are wildlife. You want to talk about something that they're not going to see in person,
or is diminishing from the earth because of cattle ranching.
You know where we're heading to. We're heading toward people not really even being able to distinguish at all the difference between wildlife and livestock, because livestock is all that's going to be left. I see this with the goat grazing, with parents bringing their children out to watch the goats destroy the land and look, it's nature.
Yeah.
The fuck, it's not nature.
It's actually anti-nature.
It is anti-nature.
Yeah.
The goats are there because we got rid of all of the actual ungulates that should be there.
Yeah. So again, reframing the way we think about it, where our food comes from, is the goal. Melissa is an ideal candidate. She grew up at Cow Track Ranch in its previous iteration as a dairy farm. She represents a unique demographic: female-owned ranches changing the face of raising cattle. Now watch Skyler's face as the bile rises. He can't control himself. Quote, raising beef. Now, beef, not raising cows, right? Raising beef. Think about that. Is my passion and my purpose, says Melissa. The animals are our top priority. The reason we're working the land, the reason we work as hard as we do, is for our livestock and other wildlife.
She literally said other wildlife. She included livestock and wildlife in the same category.
There it is, right there.
You
black and white
psychopath.
And just to you go at it with sarcasm and anger, totally appropriate. I occasionally punctuate it with, by the way, folks, just a reminder: livestock and other wildlife are diametrically opposed land uses. You cannot have them both without there being conflict between the two. That's the problem.
Jack, you're going too fast. Go up. Go back up.
Sorry.
Isn't it I wonder if, as they're showing the children the cattle that they prioritize, if she ever refers to them as beef in front of the children. There goes beef number one. There goes beef number two. Or do you actually pretend to give them names in front of the children?
Great question. Great subject for a documentary film, Skyler. You should volunteer to go make a documentary. Just film it all and then, go into your lab and make your magic.
Yeah, and I'll do it all for free.
I knew you were going to go there. Yes. Spoken like an artist. Okay. Moving on there. Lovely photographs. Oh, God. On display for visitors of Cow Track Ranch. You get to, I can't read all of this. It's just too much and too painful and too long. Get to experience the beauty of the land while connecting with the animals. Seeing the life cycle of the cow from calving season, Melissa's favorite time of year, to, I love this, finishing steers. Finishing steers. What does that mean? Sounds like some sort of a euphemism for me. A process Cow Track Ranch now does in-house, allowing visitors insights into the care and respect that goes into modern ranching before we kill it. Oops, sorry, I added those words. It's an experience that highlights how cattle ranching is an integral part of a sustainable future. So, folks, again, this is from Jocelyn Knight. Thank you, Jocelyn. This is sponsored content, meaning it's an ad for the beef industry, and this is full propaganda. It doesn't get more propaganda. It's computer than this propaganda.
How many people know what finishing steers means? Jack, do you know?
Well, it can mean a couple things, is my understanding. One is you finish them by feeding them an extra amount of grain, if they were grass-fed, to fatten them up for slaughter and market. It also can be the full process, I understand it, of giving them food and then killing them. But
I'll read it.
Processing.
I'll read it to you. But
Please.
please read Corinne's messages. She just gave a super chat. Thank you, Corinne. You've really gotten the hang of that. Really appreciate it. And we also had oh, well, we've got a couple of comments from NC. He said, "Where's the beef?"
She says the wildlife are mere. Thank you, Skyler. You're highlight. I'm sorry. The wildlife are mere ornaments. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And nuisances and pests on the other hand, but they're ornaments because, oh, look, we pay lip service and look, there's a bird in the sky. But, God forbid he lands and starts messing with our cows, we'll blow its head off. And yes, an idiocracy indeed.
Yeah, she was blown away by this quote too: livestock and other wildlife. I mean, every time I want to say something about we're going to be there someday, folks. Nope. We're already there.
We're there. Oh,
we actually already don't know the difference.
Yeah. 8 months ago or so, I reread Orwell's 1984, and it's more apropos, more fitting, more timely than ever. Just you say the opposite of what's true, and then even stranger than that, you can kind of change your story from day to day, and change the internet's reproduction of the facts to just make anybody believe anything at any time.
Let me read the definition of finishing steers. Finishing steers involves feeding them a high energy diet, typically grains or rich forages, for several months to build fat, improve marbling, and reach market weight for beef production. Okay, so
what's marbling?
That is when the meat has a certain amount of the white fat, but not too much of it inside of it, I guess.
My understanding is marbling is pushing you, have them be inactive and feed them a ton of food, a high fat food ideally, but at least high calorie food, so that you get fat in the muscle fiber.
Right. That's the white stuff I'm talking about.
Right. The white stuff is fat. It's not health. It's not a healthy animal. What we love is yummy, which is high fat content animals, meat, beef, is not healthy for the animal. Torture.
So they're forced into inactivity for the sake of marbling.
Yeah, putting on weight, more fat, more money.
They are truly turning children into the next generation of psychopaths by showing them, hey, we're doing something good without explaining what they're actually doing, which is forced inactivity, incarceration, basically, while waiting for death.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
waiting for death at a young age while children.
What is it, Hansel and Gretel? Where the witch puts the two kids behind the bars and tries to fatten them up. I mean,
wow, I forgot that. Yeah.
That's what's happening here.
Yeah.
Except when it's another species, you're no longer the witch. You're apparently changing the face of agriculture.
No, you're making it better, of course, modernizing it, putting a woman's touch on the slaughter of animals, confinement, torture, and slaughter of animals. It reminds me of growing up Westchester County, New York. We'd occasionally have a treat and go to a steakhouse. And I remember, I was a teenage boy and I loved meat. It was normal. I ate lots of it if I could get my hands on it. And I wanted the one with like a big extra layer of fat, gristle on the edge of it. It was just kind of pure fat. And I loved the taste of it. I mean, I'm sure I still would like the taste of it, but I know what it is now. But just think of the cultural conditioning where I'm teaching myself to just eat the fat of an animal who was raised as you just described. And that's a good positive thing. I'm doing it.
Read Honest Doubter. Welcome
not to mention
the show.
Not to mention that nearly all beef is aged 2 weeks because the start of the rotting process makes the flavor better. Fresh beef tastes, quote unquote, too gamey. said no carnivore ever.
No
So,
true carnivore ever.
and
Yeah,
get
they've got a steakhouse here in San Francisco on Van Ness that has meat hanging in the windows. I'm like, huh, is that sanitary? Well, I guess they're starting the aging process for flavor.
yeah, yeah, it's
Um,
fascinating our culture's interpretation of eating animals.
can you go back to the top real quick?
Sure. Picture or
The
headline?
woman-owned ranch shows how sustainable cattle raising is the future of farming. I wanted to talk about that because it amazes me how time after time after time people are supposed to be impressed that ranchers are finally getting it, while at the same time, ranchers have always gotten it because they're multi generational and daddy knew best and his daddy knew best and his daddy knew best. And you city folks are the only ones who don't get it. How can that be true at the same time that we're constantly being told that ranchers have now figured out sustainability?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's sort of reselling, 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 rebranding the same stuff, which
Which,
was
of
never
course,
really a thing. Sorry.
yeah. And on top of all of that, this is the opposite of sustainability.
It's like, I think, how long has cattle ranching been going on at Point Reyes? The park was formed in 1962, and it's whatever that is, 50-ish years. But really, it's been going on there since, European immigration, since the 1850s. So that land has been beaten to shit by lots of cow manure for 150 years. And we're trying to now, the Nature Conservancy, we're going to get to them, is going to repair it by bringing in more cows. That's the trouble and what we activists are banging on these days.
Corinne says sponsored content means that the whole piece is marketing. Did you mean to put the question mark at the end? Because that would have been just fine as a statement, I think.
She's confirming. Yeah. Well, it's basically it's content written by in this case, funded by the beef farmers and ranchers. So they approve the content at the very least. I mean, I'm assuming they hired Gianna Cipponi Butta to write this thing, and then they approve of it and they copy edit it. So they have control over the content. Yeah. It's basically an ad. It looks like an editorial content, but it's an ad.
I mean, how could it not be an ad? They are trying to make you feel good about continuing to make your irresponsible purchases. For the handful of people that can actually afford something that comes from this farm.
This reminds me of growing up reading the New York Times. Back in New York, I keep referring to Northrop or Grumman. Defense contractors would buy what looked like an editorial and put it on the editorial page or the op-ed page. Excuse me, the op-ed page opposite the editorials, and it was in effect sponsored content. And it said Northrop. The logo was right there. It wasn't hidden like this is, very small. It's the same thing. So this has been going on for a long time because they pay the magazines or newspapers to publish the stuff. That's why it's done. And it is identified, but you have to know what sponsor content means. It's legally telling people, but not in a way that most people are going to understand.
It's an advertorial, as NC says.
Yes, yes. Very good.
Is that a real term or is that just
Yeah.
cleverness?
Well, she's clever, but that's a clever term that exists. Right, NC? Right on. Okay, let's keep going because we have so much to do. Feel like a teacher at the beginning of the year. We have so much material class. We can't spend time learning any one thing. So at Cowtrek Ranch, Melissa notes how raising cattle has turned her land into a birder's paradise.
Oh my God, here we go again.
Across its acres of live oak forests and coastal scrub, the ranch teems.
Bullshit.
Yeah. And as we discussed pre-show, you are encouraged to interrupt all you want, buddy. The ranch teems with diverse wildlife. In spring, the valley transforms into a symphony of wildflowers, doesn't say from what plants, creating a peaceful escape from the bustle of city life. There's a little bit of truth in that. That's what's tricky because there's no freeways. So, hey, it's great. Quote,
Right.
Last sentence in the paragraph, quote, in cattle ranching, the land is our canvas, says Melissa. It's just like an artist. If you don't have a quality canvas, you can't paint a picture. Huh? It's almost Chat GPT quality double talk gobbledygook. The canvas is the land, and I guess the picture she's painting is killing cows at the age 2. I'm not sure. Look, audience, look at poor Skyler. Look at what he's doing for you. The suffering he puts himself through on the cross of this nonsense, so you can learn more about the industry and how cruel and.
Do you mind if I remind? Do you mind if I remind people that I did um, a debunking of what was the name of Newman Grass-Fed, another ranch in California that
Oh,
bragged about all their wildlife and
Nyman
their
Ranch.
birds.
Nyman Ranch.
No, no, no. There was a
Newman's Own? Paul Newman?
no, no. It's some grass-fed in the title. Newman's Grass-Fed. It was down south.
It's built. Oh, down south.
No,
Oh,
I know Nyman up north. This is a different one. You participated in this debunking, Jack. I don't know if you were there, but you were on screen.
Well, that's half the time. I'm not sure I'm here right now because where is here and who am I? I don't.
Anyway, there was. They brought a film crew down there and filmed it over several days. Didn't get one shot of wildlife.
Oh,
one shot of a bird,
right.
Native bird. And Jack,
yeah,
can I assume in this article they failed to do that again with any of their photos? Do they actually have a photo of a wild animal at any point in time?
No, they don't. And also,
well, but take their word for it, everybody. Just take their word for it.
but the thing is, I mean, you can go into a ranch and you can see maybe there's one coyote out there hunting, and maybe there's one rabbit, and maybe there's a hawk. I mean, there are some animals, but the trouble is with the shifting baseline paradigm, which is the sky used to be filled with raptors supposedly in the 1800s here before cattle ranching destroyed everything. And we don't see that. We just see, look, I went out there and I saw a hawk on the ranch. It's teeming with wildlife because I don't see any in the city. Right.
Well, right. So the shifting baselines. If you're not inside of a city, if you're not inside of the concrete jungle, then this is now nature for you.
We have people in our own group who's, I mean, that's the old cows or condos argument. If we don't put ranches out there to preserve this land forever, protected forever, we're going to have development. And those are your only two choices. You couldn't possibly just have open space for wild animals. It's either cows or condominiums. You know what? So you tell me, my friend, let's see where we are here. So there's this picture. There's this more. Look, and there's
look, she likes dogs. How could you question her? She likes dogs.
And she has a cowboy hat on.
Oh, she looks like she's ranched every day of her life.
Yeah, that's practical ranching clothing she's got on there. God bless her.
Whose techie wife and whose hobby farm is this?
Since we rehab, I mean, again, every sentence is a doozy. Since we rehabbed the spring, we rehabbed. We've needed less hay. Grass comes back stronger. Cattle are healthier. It's win-win for everybody. And I would say maybe not a win-win for the cow who's going to die at age 2 or 3.
Hold on. Rehabbed is a new one. They keep introducing these words to keep people thinking that they're on the cutting edge.
Yep.
What the fuck does this mean?
Yep.
No, really. What are they referring to this time?
Well, that's rehabbed is vernacular for rehabilitated the spring. Skyward, don't you understand what that means? I don't.
From what state? The spring in which form?
Oh God! And this is I as an advertising copywriter, former in another life,
What's wrong with SF Gate? I'm sorry, my anger is overflowing because SF Gate has really been spewing this shit out.
Well, they need money. That's all. Next question. They take money. They get paid thousands of dollars to run this. It's a big ad.
God damn.
This win-win mentality is something lost when we become disconnected. Poor Skyler. When we become disconnected from where our food comes from, agritourism is helping reforge those bonds while educating visitors about the realities of sustainable ranching. We won't say what those are. To Melissa, this is the true value of welcoming people to her farm. Huh? The importance of getting people out, getting their feet on the ground, as opposed to, I guess, their car, their apartment, experiencing the hands-on nature of what we do and being a part of it, especially now in this era of click, click, and eat it now. It can't be understated. She said, I can't tell you the number of people who come here and say, I thought this would be totally different. They realize you can't be a successful rancher without caring for the environment. Poor
Jack,
Sky.
we're going there. who who here can fund a trip single-handedly? We will credit you as the sponsor, and we are going out to this ranch. And I'm gonna Jack, show me a photo from that article. Is that the whole thing?
Let's see here. Pull back. That is, yeah, that's the end of it right there.
Wow. Wow, that was a whole lot of nonsense, but at least it was mercifully short. Now, go through those photos slowly.
Okay. First one, that's the lead image, woman on horseback,
Okay,
on
I
beaten down
think
land. Look at the
I
land.
think yes, exactly. I can't tell from this image if those are trees far away. Those must be trees, and that one on the right, I was gonna guess was maybe coyote brush, but I think that there is a hill there, and that's a tree coming over the other hill. So we have a couple of trees that they haven't chopped down. Everything else is absolutely non-native, non-habitat, and beaten into nothing. Scroll down.
I will do that. I just want to comment to what you just said, but they would refer to this as coastal prairie.
No,
That's how it would be described incorrectly.
no,
Yeah, no, what? It isn't?
it's absolutely not.
Right, but that's what they refer to it in the text here.
Is that the rehabbed spring?
I don't
I
know.
don't see any. I don't see any scrub brush in this either.
So that's the next picture. Yeah,
I see
trees.
annual grasses.
Well, this is Nicasio. That does look like Nicasio in the background there.
Yeah, a handful of surviving oak trees.
Yeah. Okay, next picture.
Yep. Nope. Where's the scrub brush? You bragged about scrub brush and birds and wildlife in your article. Can you include one photo?
And I think that is it. Yeah. Oh, actually, there's. I'm not even sure what this is. Oh, by saving. Oh, this is the next. The next spot. Oh, by the way, you can see the sponsor check mark on the far right in red. By saving endangered species. This is the next article. This Bay Area cattle rancher also saved his family farm.
Oh, right. Of course, their first priority was to save the endangered species, and the farm came second.
Okay.
Can we get a hard draw on using ranching and farming together?
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
Can we decide that they're not the same thing? Because the title of the article, scroll back up to the title. Because the first half of the sentence, it's a ranch, and then it's the future of farming. And I understand that they're both, it's all agriculture, but don't most of us picture first in our minds when they say farming, maybe something a little bit more diverse, like maybe you've got some vegetables growing somewhere, whereas a ranch, you're definitely just raising animals.
Skyler, I don't know where to begin. It's sort of like attacking a Trump speech these days. It's a lie and a distortion and a misdirection from start to finish. So you can't really critique it because the whole thing is a foundation of Chat GPT margarine crap.
That was something else. Well, boy, Chat GPT has come in just the right time for humans being dumb enough to accept anything. Ranching is not farming, says Corinne.
Well, that's a great topic for conversation because vernacularly it is, but her point is, raising cattle on the land, cows moving around the land for beef and dairy is not, well, farming is for me a general term of animals and vegetables.
Oh, Corinne, it's smart. Let's book a tour. God, I wonder how much it costs.
Wow. Well, Corinne and Skyler, you guys could do that. I have trouble being completely 100% dishonest and against someone meeting face to face. That'd be tough for me to do, to know that I'm.
No, Jack will literally try to convert them to veganism on the spot.
Yeah,
Jack, no, read the room, sir.
Exactly. I'm going to make friends with Donald Trump. I alone can convince him, like nobody's ever seen.
Oh, you would actually go into that thinking that you could.
Yeah. I mean, that's not inaccurate to say. That's how delusional I can be. Yes.
And you're old. Like, when are you ever going to wake up?
I like to think it's wise.
You're older than me. I'll say that. Jack, do you have Are you going to kick off the Point Reyes part of our show with some images, or do I start showing?
Oh, we should show a few pictures. Yeah, take a little break before we go into reading more articles. So let's do that.
Oh,
So,
you're going to read another article. Oh, God.
well, this is an article in this is Western Livestock Journal has an article called "The Nature Conservancy Opens Point Reyes Grazing Contracts."
Oh,
So this
shit.
gives, I mean, there's some great stuff in here describing how wonderful it is, because of course this is the Western Livestock Journal. It's completely pro all of this, right? We're going to help restore the land at Point Reyes, which was decimated by cattle. And then this points to, folks, what's going on here, which is the Nature Conservancy, which has paid off these ranchers millions of dollars for the second time, is now instigating a targeted cattle grazing effort for conservation. Right there, that's a oxymoron, at Point Reyes National Seashore. And this is a request for proposal, which is the Nature Conservancy, it's right in the center there, is inviting an RFP. Of course, you give it an acronym, so it's important. A request for proposals for targeted cattle grazing at Point Reyes National Seashore next year, 2026. This is for a short-term contract to address specific natural resource concerns, specifically high levels of invasive grass competition impacting rare native plant species in select areas. So before I let Skyler go at this with his vomit of invective appropriately, this is what I call a cattle call. The Nature Conservancy is saying, hey, ranchers, we're looking for someone to bid to bring cows back onto the land to heal land decimated by cattle.
Okay. So it's as bad as I was thinking. It's not even a management plan proposal comment period. This is just bidding. It's not a, hey, maybe we shouldn't use cattle grazing, or hey, maybe we should only use this much cattle grazing. It's no, we're using cattle grazing. We're just going to see who gets the bid.
And this is a giant, yes, this is a giant topic we're going to get into, not just in this show, but moving forward, folks. Because again, as I always say, and need to frame it this way, what's going on at Point Reyes is emblematic. It's a microcosm of what's going on across certainly the West, which is the industry, once again, bamboozling the public and saying we need cows to restore the land, which is the opposite of the truth. The cows destroyed the land in the first place. They're continuing to destroy it and bringing in more cows and moving them around a little bit more on even more land, which they call regenerative or sustainable, still destroys the land. So it's more, what is it? As we say, problem proposed as solution.
How many people tuned in last week to hear the overview that I provided about how insanely wrong this is? Can I get a show of hands from all the people that I can't see? Jack, are you done with the article, or?
Yeah, let's take a photo break. I do want to show people we went in last 2 weekends ago, folks, and we saw lots of elk. So there's some good news there amid all the despair of bringing in more cattle. We saw lots of cows still on the land. This is a process that's supposed to culminate in, finally, after much promotion, after 16 months, by April of next year, 12 of the 14 beef and dairy ranches will be completely out. Most of the dairy cows are out now, not all of them, but we saw an awful lot of beef cows. Just on iRanch alone, we saw, 174, 175 Black Angus beef cows on the hillside there, and you have a lot to say about that. But is it okay to show a couple pictures?
Yeah.
Okay. So this beauty. I just like to do a little show and tell because I am a photographer after all. So,
That's coastal scrub that they're standing in, folks. By the way, we're getting closer to actual habitat, because we are, in fact, this is right next to Pierce Point Ranch, right? At the beginning of the Tule Elk Reserve.
Exactly. This is on the right side there where the big water tank used to be. Good idea. Yes, and that's a spike, which is to say a young first-year male.
Look at his face. What a handsome devil.
Exactly.
Can you zoom in on those eyes?
I can. Whoopsie. Sorry. We'll get to that later, folks.
What a badass.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's other animal lovers out there, but let's focus on something positive for change. I just, like you, Skyler, and I use a lot of words because I'm always talking, but God, I love these guys. They're just, in the nose is kind of crinkled up. He's sniffing us. He's taking us in. eyes on each side of the head to watch out for prey on either side, a prey animal, an herbivore, and just so intelligent and aware and alive and awake. I just gush over these guys. They're so beautiful to be around. I encourage people to go out to the park and see the Tule elk. It'll encourage you to join us in the fight to preserve them, protect them, and kick off the cows that are taking over the place again. And we saw them, a couple young spikes, kind of play dueling.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's what they'll do is in mating season. And they've got kind of good, healthy, fresh, thick, young coats, looks like, right?
Didn't Derek say that they were just resting their heads against each other for a little bit, almost like a bonding moment? in between the instincts taking over and being like, we got to practice fighting. I don't, I know you're my friend, but we have to practice this.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you could watch. I could watch them. You could watch them. People can watch them all day. They're just fascinating to see. It's all those things. It's all that, and
It'd
it's
be like Jack and I if we had lived in New York together, having a friendly beer at the bar until a attractive woman walks in, and then it's like, okay, we're enemies again.
That's right. That's right. And as I used to joke with my friend George, I'll watch the reaction of this. Be like you and me at a bar in our 30s. Like if a woman wasn't interested in one of us, it proved she was gay. So that's the old sexist. Oh boy, I'm digging myself a hole. Aren't these beautiful elk? Yep. So I mean, there is wildlife out there, even though. Oh, and by the way, the targeted grazing they do plan to do. The initial proposal. The initial proposal is of land.
Is what?
It's 2,000 acres, not 18,000 acres, which is the whole so-called pastoral zone, which is an advertising term itself. So it's that grazing plan is just for some of it. And I don't know where. They're not being very clear about that. But it's not everywhere. So this is inside the Tule Elk Reserve, although technically the gates are open to the reserve, although the cows aren't going this far north up to Pierce Point, the tip of Tomales Point. And there are lots of elk roaming about now. I mean, there's probably more elk in Point Reyes National Seashore than ever before, in large part because the ranchers are out. They're not hazing the animals. They're probably not shooting them anymore at night, we hope. And we also both saw this.
Oh, yeah.
Our very first bobcat for either of us in daytime. There are photographers in our midst, friends of ours that are out there leading tours. Daniel Dietrich and Jim Coda, Ken Belay all photograph bobcats, but I haven't gone out just to do that. And this guy was right on H Ranch across from Abbott's Lagoon, broad daylight, 12 noon. We were driving through and this guy was just strolling through there. And again, just beauty, 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 a wild cat, an actual wildlife, which we haven't seen in any of those ranches before.
So some people have claimed that the ranches allow for wildlife viewing because they have no vegetation to hide in.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what a human perspective on things. It's like, fuck their habitat. I want them to be forced to be exposed. And if you look at this, you're not looking at any native plants. You're looking at the next generation of annual grasses already coming up on, this is December 5th. You see a stalk of poison hemlock right center and in front, and then various old thatches of thistle spread around inside of the image. We'll get to more plant IDing later, which I've spent some time on. But even though it's walking through a bunch of non-native plants, the beauty of this animal is evident.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, what is it? Music tames the savage beach. Just photographs of these animals tames the savage Skyler and brings him back down. I mean, this is why in my I will observe your behavior from afar, Skyler, but this is why you get so angry and care so much, because you love these guys. Yeah. And so let me just to cut 3 more pictures here. So we also saw a few of these. Let's see.
Uh-oh, your new computer.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I've just got a lot of stuff. So this beautiful boy. And
what do we see? 3, 4 coyotes that trip?
Something like that. Yeah, at least 3. So this is a series I call Dances with Coyotes. and one of the dancers was our friend Skyler Thomas here. So it was really fun. This is with a long lens, obviously. That's why the background is out and really zoomed in. I mean, even with a 400 millimeter lens, I don't know, felt like a quarter mile away. But this guy was being observed and filmed by this guy, December 5th. So he was just sitting down there hanging out. And this is on J Ranch, Kehoe's old place, where there are a few animals left, but not nearly as many. They were on the other side of the road. And this guy was just hanging out, just lolling again at whatever, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, Skyler, or something like that. So it was really fun to watch folks, Skyler, do his thing, which I've actually never done. We've walked a little bit out there, but not as much as this Saturday. And he would, just have a gentle vibe and move closer to this guy. And then if the animal sort of looked at him and paid him attention, then Skyler, with an instinct for it, would then play possum, as it were. Like, no, nothing going on here. Camera behind the back. Hi, how you doing? Until the coyote settled down again. And at another show, Skyler, of course, was filming, and just on his iPhone, but he has footage of this guy. It's really sweet to be out there with these animals.
I'll put together my footage for everybody to see soon, because I laid down and the coyote ended up coming right by me.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
So
you saw,
last bit of pictures here. I'm going to show this. So this was the big deal. So this is from the same spot I took those pictures. I took this picture of this big bull that's a J Ranch barn behind, and 3 females, 3 gals in his harem. And then if you zoom out a little bit, you get, oh, wait, there's more females around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you zoom out a little bit, they're bigger perspective. And then you keep zooming out and keep zooming out.
Wow.
So there were not all in this frame here, and there's actually cows way in the background to the right there in the distance, or the midfield. But in the foreground, counted 174. Excuse me, not 174. That was the number of cows. 74, 75 Tule elk in one herd on a former ranch land, which is still ranch. That's J Ranch again behind, and Pierce Point Road is the road sneaking through that and the ocean. And it just gives you, for me, like up on this hillside here, how beautiful this land is. And from a distance, it looks green and lovely. And of course, a lot of it's still decimated here by the strips of green are the cow pastures, which are green this time of year. But all that should be wildlife. All that should be devoid of cows and open for animals, and occasional trail here for people to walk through without vehicles to enjoy these animals. There are more wild elk on this piece of farmland than literally ever before, unless you go back over 200 years in our lifetimes. So that's the good news. There's a lot of work to be done, but there are more elk on the land now than before because of moving cattle out and opening up the fence.
What an eyesore. What an absolute stain. What a tumor that Kehoe Ranch is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like a gravel pit with some big barns, with some big buildings. And it's, again, education informs your interpretation of what you see.
For example, I bet a lot of people are moved by the green, the bright green.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of different types of green out there.
Yeah.
And some of the green is good news for wildlife. And some of the other green is good news for ranchers and ranchers only. Yeah. You can have green rolling hills that is good for wildlife and still be able to celebrate green rolling hills, people. You don't have to choose ranchers to have green rolling hills. In fact, you'll have better green rolling hills if you say no to ranchers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's vast majority of people, and I'm still uneducated to a large extent. It's like, oh, rolling green hills. There could be coastal prairie with coyote brush and lupin and all the other plants that were there originally, or you can have rolling green hills of grass imported from Europe to feed cows. And to the untrained eye, it all looks green and the same. That's a big problem, and the industry exploits that ignorance, of course, and not only exploits it, provides you as disinformation to confuse and bamboozle you. That's what advertising and marketing campaigns like the one we started the show off with do.
Well, that's why I make the effort of hopping out of the car as we did on this trip and walking into the field and identifying the plants so that people who can't do that or haven't done that or won't do that understand what they're actually looking at.
Yeah.
Shall I show?
Please, yeah, take a few. Go for it.
Let's why don't we catch up on some
comments?
Yeah, Chris Cedar. Hey, welcome to the show.
Oh yeah, thank you, Chris. Good morning. At Chimney Rock the other day. This is Chris, another elktivist and photographer and wildlife person. I saw two young male elephant seals sparring and then nuzzling each other. It was so beautiful to see their enjoyment in sharing each other's company. Indeed.
And let's see, Corinne. Sorry, we're behind. Hopefully the ranchers don't use the rodenticides.
Rodenticides, yeah. Yeah, and who knows what they do out there. There's no one monitoring that. They can do whatever.
Regenerative poison. Yeah. Okay, everybody. Let's see. How many people have the bandwidth to see the first stop where I pulled us over?
I do. Oh, I do. Show me, Skyler.
Okay, everybody. Let me make this smaller. Make Jack and I turned the sound off because I assume we'll talk over this. So here we are entering the park, and I'm going to hit play. And Jack's pointing out the transformation has already begun. Areas where native habitat was removed. You're starting to see the disappearance of the brush, the disappearance of trees. That's why I've sped this up.
I was going to say, I don't remember driving that fast.
No.
Okay.
Some people were. A little lack of respect for wildlife with the tourists out there.
Now, this is Sir Francis Drake Boulevard, correct? Headed toward
it is.
White House? Okay.
And so here is where I commented that California shouldn't look like Kansas, and you shouldn't be excited that this is a monocultured field of grass.
Yeah.
And here's where I begged Jack to pull over. And I'm trying to get my bearings. This is where you turn right. Here, everything in red there is ranch land. And here is satellite imagery of us on Pierce Point Road. And to the best of my guessing, that's about where we pulled over. You can see just north where there's more trees, and then it gets uglier and deader below where there's more ranching activity.
I thought this was the other road. I'm not positive where we were there in that last shot. Was that Pierce Point Road, not Sir Francis Drake Boulevard? The two roads, go
Sir Francis is the one that goes out to Chimney.
Yeah. And what was the video you were seeing?
That was the beginning that was Pierce Point.
Okay.
And actually, I took care of this in the editing process for people who are trying to figure out which ranches there are. We're actually bordered by multiple ranches.
Wow.
And so you got M, L, H, and then I.
Romantic names, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they have the historic designation as well. Here's
the
romantic old image, and I'm zooming in to where we were. And again, let me point out exactly where we were with the blue arrow.
Wow.
So you can see by the light brown and the green and the different colors that it's actually multiple ranches that touch that road at the point that we pulled over. So if anyone wants to argue semantics about exactly which ranch we're looking at, it's ranched.
Yeah. Well, most all of it on both sides of the road is all destroyed. I mean, sorry, ranched, farmed.
Yeah, and we're actually like sandwiched by a couple of Evans ranches.
Right. One of the two ranchers who's remaining in the park, Evans and Nyman.
Okay, so here I get out, and I am realizing that that's got to be L, which is McClelland, who married into the Mendoza family. And we can see McClure all the way from there, even without the giant loafing barns that were removed.
And that's where the elk were up on the hill there above where you just showed, above that excuse me, J Ranch.
Okay, what I'm pointing out here is at the fence line, native plants are doing better than on the other side of the fence that has been constantly grazed. I am pointing out California blackberry right there. That is yarrow. And then we got radish, which is not supposed to be there. And we have annual grasses that is not supposed to be there. So it's far from perfect. But if I were to go into the actual field, it gets a lot worse. We have Douglas iris right there. There's a big mound of radish. For people who don't know, that is a consequence of the silage fields. This is actually cow parsnip, which is a good thing. But again,
it's interesting, Scott. I'm not sure we agree or totally aligned in this, but even just the shots on either side of the oh wow, Harrier. Yeah. Northern Harrier, female. Beautiful. So one could argue, see, wildlife can do better. When the grass is beaten down, it's easier for the hawks to find the mice, as opposed to in the thicker vegetation of non-grazed lands, right? That would be an argument they'd make in their infomercials.
Nature didn't need humans to figure things out for them.
Exactly.
As you can see, and that hawk can still fly over scrub brush.
Yep.
And by the way, it was a mosaic. There was native grassland. It just doesn't have to be European annual fire fuel grass. There's plenty of native grasses, even native perennial grasses to choose from. Read a couple of comments real quick. These ranchers are absolute criminals. I agree. On Honest Doubter, look at that regenerative monoscape. You beat me to it. Thank God all of those old growth oaks and buckhorn trees are cleared out.
Just to be fair, this is near the coast. This is within a mile of the Pacific Ocean, so there might have been an occasional tree, but probably not. I don't know what was there actually. Maybe there were oaks there. Laura Cunningham, or you might know. But a lot of this was coastal prairie, not a lot of forest areas right in this spot, I don't think.
A little bit interspersed, but yes, it does turn into coastal prairie. Mm-hmm. But that certainly doesn't mean monoculture.
Correct.
Monoscape, great. Yeah.
Moonscape.
Yeah. Right. It looks worse than a moonscape in the summer and fall. This is about the best time of year that it does look. Now look how tall this fence is, and it looks pretty new.
And how many strands?
Now I'm on the other side of the fence, and I'm bending down, and I'm showing these annuals. And all of a sudden, people stop me when you see any of those natives I showed at the fence line. And here's the old generation of fire fuel. Here's a new generation. And I'm showing a native growth barbed wire, says an Honest Doubter. Now, I did find a plantain in there. And I think it's important to point out you got nature trying, nature's fighting, but the growth rate of these non-natives means that thing will be smothered within a few weeks.
It does raise the complicated question. We should get Laura back in the show, or, I mean, you're very knowledgeable at this point, but the argument is always, and this is by people who don't know any better, probably are pro cattle, but they say, well, look at all this stuff. This needs to be fixed. It's a dangerous, fire fuel, and it's going to burn. Of course, native coyote brush burns, but they look at this and even say, no, we can't even leave this alone. We need to bring in cows to fix it. Otherwise, fire. We're still, of course, suppressing fires. It's a lot of different native, non-native, fire, not fire, cows, not cows. interpenetrating debates going on here.
Which brings us back to last week. Every single place that isn't grazed has less of this problem. Every single place that is grazed has more of this problem. You already have the solution in front of your eyes if you're willing to listen to it and go down that route.
Which is get the
And
cows out, to spell it
yeah,
out as I always do. Get the cows out and let the elk populate and become the grazers again.
we did the entire expanse of Point Reyes on this weekend, guys. And every ranch and its proximity had more annual fire fuel problems than areas that aren't ranched. Period. Every single one of them.
Yeah, the opposite of the infomercial. The opposite of the infomercial.
The opposite of the infomercial. God, can I get some billionaires to put us in SF Gate? So this is showing the shallow root system. Once again, the infomercial lies to you about carbon sequestration. Not happen with this.
Wait, you're saying the cows don't stimulate plant growth and help the grasslands become restored to longer rooted plants? Is that what you're saying, Skyler?
Actually, they do stimulate these annual grasses like disturbance, which is why the cows will never get rid of them. But even in the best case scenario of these, they're annuals. They're going to die within months of being alive. And even while they are alive, their roots are too short to do anything effective.
Yeah.
Thanks for going out there and bringing us this report. Well, thank you for the gas money, Corinne. And thanks, Jack, for driving and helping film. And Jack got a couple of shots that I'm going to share here in a minute. That was the fully grown dried roots, once again demonstrating the lack of effectiveness. How long do I blabber here? I may have actually had
you, as we discussed pre-show, you tend to be more detailed and in depth, and I tend to be, Jackie runabout and pop here and pop there. So two different styles, both legit. We are an hour into our show. We said we'd run a little long today, but my God, we've got several shows with the content here. We've got more video that you shot, and I guess let's show just kind of like I would do an overview, show a few of your ranch pictures if that's what you had ready. And we're going to end up coming back and doing overlapping materials anyway. Meaning we'll cover these topics again and again and again. Sorry, cow manure, you were going to say? I see how this is the rainy season, and that's just it's just barren land. The moonscapey comment.
I think I keep the audio here. Jack films me here, and here's Jack starting at the fence line, and you can already see the difference at the fence line compared to out where I am beyond the fence line.
It was fun to be with you, Skyler, and watch you do your thing. It's great.
It really is kind of a moonscape back there, huh?
Yeah.
Look how tall the fence is, people.
And
that's absurd.
Is barbed wire considered wildlife friendly? I mean, if that stuff gets rusty, that's actually new fence, God help us, but
public land. I don't know who, when driving on their way to the elk reserve, is honestly tempted to get out of their car, try and get past this,
volume up,
and walk through a monoculture of European grasses and cow patties. And this is when it looks nice. This is just about as inviting of a time of year as it gets with the ranch land. And my only motivation to go over here is to try and get people to wake up to the problem of what you're looking at. People are like, oh, the rolling green hills. Rolling green, monocultured, non-native, non-wildlife habitat hills. They were still green rolling hills before the ranchers. They just provided habitat for wildlife instead of providing money for a very, very, very small group of people at the cost of everything else.
Here we have the angry ecologist literally throwing up his hands in despair and frustration.
Let's show another clip that Jack shot of me. And I think I muted myself in this, but here I am in the elk reserve. This is what you can have. And from a distance, this still looks green, folks.
Wow.
And we've got rushes, we've got perennial grasses, we've got coyote brush, we have cow parsnip. All of a sudden, we got rid of the cattle. We're not on ranch land, and the problem is solved. And you know what it costs? It costs as much as leaving nature alone costs. Oops, are you kicking me out?
No, I didn't do anything.
I don't know what's happening.
I don't have control.
My video won't. My video won't stay on the screen.
As Bart Simpson once said, I didn't do it.
I don't know what's happening, but there's a nice shot of here. Let me come back. Look at the girth. I mean, that's what you call a bunch grass, people. That is not some stupid annual stuff.
Meaning it's deep rooted, and you literally put your body weight into it and can't pull it out of the ground. That's the difference between a native.
I demonstrate that's full body weight, and you know the beauty of that is that not only is it sequestering carbon, not only is it perennial, not only does it not require fertilization or irrigation, but animals can feed on it and it doesn't have to die.
Because they only eat the tops of the plant and the deep roots are in the soil and then they regrow. Right.
Now I get back to the edge. I'm at the fence line and all of a sudden you got the annual grasses again. Look at the difference.
And the other thing is I keep looking at like this stuff is up to your, above your knees, your thighs, your waist. Huge amount of animals, a huge number of animals can hide in there and not be seen and not be hunted, and they can live. In fact, I looked up coyote brush, which was apparently, there's a lot of speculation, but it was named because packs of coyotes could live and hide, hunt, sleep in coyote brush. And what is it? Baccharis pilularis, I think is the Latin name for coyote brush.
Jack, don't you understand that that's a problem? Because we've labeled coyotes as pests. They're no longer native wildlife. They're pests. Therefore, coyote brush providing for a pest must mean that coyote brush is bad.
Because they threaten the chicken industry and the beef industry, right?
Right, which don't belong here. But let's remove the coyotes. I think there's like 200 more species that have been identified that use coyote brush somewhere along their life cycle. Leah is here. Hi, Leah.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Leah.
Great to see you out there showing us firsthand. Thank you. Thank you, Leah, for tuning in and being who you are. Do what you do all the time.
Well, it's 10:09 and actually 10 minutes past is not bad considering how much we covered today.
And how much more there is to cover in future
programs. So much more.
Yeah. So if you want to contribute to Watching Humans on the YouTube channel, you can do that with donations for Skyler's work. Please like and share the recording of this show if you're watching it. I am Jack Gescheit of the Tree Spirit Project. You can donate to my Tree Spirit Project as well to continue this work. Skyler and I are going to do this stuff regardless, but the more funding we have, the more we can go out and do these kinds of things.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. And you've got your own fundraiser there. How do they get to that link? Is that on the YouTube channel?
It's in the description of this video. It's in the description of all the recent videos. And I guess you can't click on that. I don't know. Can people watching this in the live view actually click on that and go? I should test that. Great show, says Honest Doubter. You covered it a lot today, says Corinne. Thanks for being here to listen to it, guys. I'm glad that you are interested in learning, being re-educated by the constant slew of lies being put out, as Jack started the show with showing us. It's really sad. And all you have to do is use your eyes. I mean, it's kind of like the Trump administration. They're not even trying anymore. They don't have to. It's like if you have decided which path you're going to go down, almost doesn't seem to matter what that side does. And if you want to continue to eat beef, you will believe any bullshit that is printed that tells you that eating beef is good for the planet.
And there's an endless supply of it, the BS, for sure. I mean, that's the game, is that people have to be, at this point, I don't know, willfully ignorant, but fed the BS and buy into it.
There's another layer of darkness to that. Do you know that some of your subsidies that go toward these sustainable businesses actually goes into advertisement? which means the subsidies are covering false advertising.
The Park Service is going to save millions of dollars here in not having to upkeep these lands, which are owned by the public. This is your land, folks. Go out to Point Reyes and visit. It's a good time of year to go visit, actually, especially over the holidays. We'll be back here next Tuesday, the 23rd, 2 days before Christmas.
Wow.
And again on the 30th And then you'll have every newscaster doing a Jimmy Kimmel bit saying, "Can you believe it's 2026, folks? Like it follows 2025 after a year. Can you imagine? Can you believe that?" So we will see you every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for being here, Chris. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Jack. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Skyler.